Welcome to week 3. And this week we'll be studying hamartiology, the doctrine of sin, the why, the what, and the how of sin, and the sin nature. You've completed your studies on the doctrine of man, looking at theological anthropology, and now we shift our focus to the doctrine of sin. The lesson learning outcomes this week include the following. 1. Compose a doctrine of anthropology position paper covering material learned in the first 2 weeks. So you're going to take the material that you have studied and internalized, and you're going to put together a position paper, and there are directions for you on the site for this week directing you to that, and you're basically going to put together a scripturally argued case for key aspects of the doctrine of man. Second, relate the doctrine of sin to other doctrines and explain why it's difficult to discuss sin in the contemporary context. 3. Examine the beginning of sin and why God allowed sin to occur. Here we'll also focus on evil, not just sin. 4. Identify a theological definition of sin and examine the biblical terms that are used to characterize sin. And 5th, examine the 4 common approaches to understanding the essential nature of sin, and then synthesize a definition of the sin nature. So, again, position paper 1 will be due this week, and it will be on the doctrine of anthropology. Make sure you read the grading rubric, and also make sure that you compare Moody Bible Institute's doctrinal position papers on those doctrines. You'll need to watch the narrated PowerPoints that deal with the doctrine of sin in Scripture, deal with did God allow for or permit sin, PowerPoint that deals with what is sin, and then the 4 approaches to sin, and the sin nature. So after you've completed those, and you've done your reading from Grudem, which is Grudem chapters 24, and Evans chapters 58 and 59, then you'll want to do your minute paper, which reflects on what you've learned and still have questions about, and then also the discussion board discussion as it relates to the concept of sin being culturally defined. After you've written your answer and responded to 2 other, at least, posts from other people, make sure you do the example study questions that will, again, prepare you for the midterm that is just around the corner.